Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United lose again in the Premier League and it's a very familiar story. 18 losses. I'll tell you what, first of all I want to say, just a big shout out to Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester for being so dreadful, because if it wasn't for you, we'd probably be in a relegation battle. Absolutely shocking performance again from Manchester United, and one that certainly needs calling out. There is context, of course. I think that we've got to, well, you can do what you want to do. Obviously, you can do what you want to. What I've got to do, and what I'm going to try and do, is just park this complete and utter frustration and focus on next Wednesday and hope that it can produce a victory when I can't remember the last time we won. Certainly in the Premier League. I know we beat Bilbao, but we're playing a Premier League team. People can tell me, well, we beat Lyon, Mark. But we're playing a Premier League team on Wednesday, and that's a massive problem. Just to Baba says, Mark, you need to drop your Erasmus agenda. Mate, go and watch your negative comments and your negative Twitter accounts and your negative YouTubers who come up with this bullshit, because on my watch along for the last 2 hours and for the last few weeks, I've said he's got a big problem and he's not playing very well. So if we all want to turn it into the Rasmus show, that's absolutely fine. Go and find the place to do it, because I tell you what I found shocking today is that, yeah, Rasmus had a shocking game, but he's the only striker we've got on Wednesday. I hope he scores the winner. I hope Onana has a worldie. And if Lindelof plays, I hope he's man of the match. I don't care who does it on Wednesday. I'm not going to sit here and tear apart any player just in case that might have a massive impact on how they play on Wednesday. On Thursday, there's big conversations to have, but I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm not interested in Player FC. I'm not interested who plays on Wednesday and who plays well or not. I just want Man United to win. And if you are trying to put that performance on Rasmus, that's absolutely fine. I suggest you go and learn about football, because whilst he was shocking, tell me what other attacker did anything of note. I thought the biggest concern for me going into Wednesday is, regardless, you could drop Rasmus and play a false nine. He doesn't have to play. But what really, really worries me is we created nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm a big fan of Amorim, and I think he's got a massive, massive job. But what I do not understand is why he hasn't implemented some level of discipline with those players, and why Ten Hag couldn't do it, and why Ollie couldn't do it, and why there are two things that have been happening at this football club for 5 years, and they still keep happening. Number one, we shouldn't have lost that game today. We've lost that game because yet again, on the back post, we're outnumbered. This was going on in Ollie days. It was going on in the Ten Hag days. And now it's going on with a back five. Why are we always weak on the back post? Why is everybody always attracted to the front post, whether you've got a back four or a back five? So we've conceded a goal we shouldn't be conceding, but we've been conceding it for the last 5 years. It's very frustrating. But in relation to the attack, Ollie's team would always fucking shoot and not pass. Ten Hag's team would always shoot and not pass. And today, again, and for the last few weeks, they will not play as a team. Mason Mount, Ahmad, Garnacho, Bruno, the wide players, Rasmus, they don't look to play as a team in the final third. And if we want to win this trophy, we have to score goals. And time again, we waste opportunities because we are absolutely clueless in the final third. And a lot of that comes obviously from a striker that's not playing very well, but also nobody else, if the striker's not playing well, there's other people who can play well. Mason Mount can create something. Ahmad could create something. Garnacho could come on and create something. Just absolutely could have played till Christmas and not scored today. And of course, the striker conversation is a very, very valid one. But it's not like if you put Liam Delap up front, we're suddenly going to score 3 goals. Because where's that going to come from? There's still... I thought the attack was absolutely dreadful. And you know what worries me about Wednesday? And I've even wrote it down. I don't write that many notes down, but I've wrote a few down. You know what I've wrote down team, ! What worries me about Wednesday is, if we're going to win that cup, we have to win it as a team. And I haven't seen many examples of team play in the final third this season. And what terrifies me about a final in Bilbao with the cameras on and a massive atmosphere is that every time certain players get the ball, they're going to be head down, take people on and shoot. And that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem. Ollie, I'm not defending anybody. I don't know how many times I can tell you that Rasmus was shit tonight. You will see it in my player rating. What's happening is your simpleton brain can't deal with the fact that beyond Rasmus being shit tonight, our attack is shit. It is selfish and it concerns me on Wednesday. Drop Rasmus, put Bruno as a false nine, it still concerns me. I'm concerned. Even Ahmad tonight was poor. Very, very selfish. Like, didn't pass, diving in the box. There's just something, I think Amrim has to do something about this in the summer because we've got some really talented players. Garnacho, Ahmad, Mount, Xerxes. Really talented. Why don't they play as a team? Why is it they're not looking to find each other with a pass? Or as soon as they get into the penalty box, I've got to have a shot or the edge of the box. For one game only on Wednesday, can we just look to play the extra pass? Because I'd love to score 2 or 3 tap-ins. I don't need worldies from the edge of the box. Like, look, everyone's always trying to be the hero. The Hollywood goal. We've got to win on Wednesday. The word is team. Play as a fucking team. Play as a team. Look for the extra pass. Stop looking to score the worldie. It worries me because we created nothing tonight. Really nothing. The glory ball, the glory shot. And the reality is, it was slightly annoying watching Chelsea at the end, like all dancing around because it's their last game of the home and they're probably going to get Champions League football now. Because as bad as we were in the attack, that one moment, that was the best chance of the game. And it was because, again, we're not marking on the back post. And I do have sympathy with Amrim, though, because I think that I've seen this with Ten Hag and I've seen it with Ollie. It has to come down to, I hate using the word, it has to come down to football IQ, doesn't it? Like, so many of those players just aren't up to the job. We've spoken about the striker. We've spoken about the attack. We've spoken about on the back post. But it's not just this manager, and these are not his players either. It's been happening before. Victor Lindelof's been here for 8 years. You know, that's sort of, when I think, why does this keep happening? Some of these players have been here for a very long time. And we've been making the same mistakes for a very long time. And then you bring new players in and it becomes learned behaviour. But that's just a vent because, honestly, I'm not in any way, shape or form angry at Amorim. And I'm not in any way, shape or form giving up on Wednesday. What it is, and I think you wouldn't be a United fan if you didn't feel like this. I just feel sick. I feel sick and tired and fed. I'm not angry. I'm not abusive. I'm not like, fuck off and get out of my club to anybody. There will be people doing that. That to me is just silly. It's silly when we've got such a big game on Wednesday. And as I said, I'm in my mid-40s. Across my life, I've had 7 European finals. So on average, they're coming around every 7 years. Don't lose what's going to happen on Wednesday, the hype, the excitement. Look, we've not won a lottery. We have earned the right to be in that final. We've been shocking in the Premier League, but we've earned the right to be in that final. And you've earned the right as a fan to justifiably get excited about it and, you know, try and enjoy it. And I would say that to any United fan. You know, some of you might be 15, some of you might be 25. They don't come around that often. And God, the way the club's going, they might not come around for a very long time. We might not be in a European final for 10 years after Wednesday. So don't let your niche arguments about what you think about this player, that player, whatever, ruin the build up to Wednesday, because that is really important. Like, you are a United fan, you have a part to play, and you shouldn't let everything else that's going on ruin that, because they don't come around very often. And if we win it, you'll be in a completely different mood. But I have to admit, I'm sick and tired, and I can feel it in me there. I'm sick and tired of this Premier League season. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. 18 losses, 39 points. It's just embarrassing. And what's really getting to me now is that even in a game where we don't really deserve to lose, we're still finding ways to lose it. I'm not saying it's better to be losing 3 or 4-0, but Wolves, we should have beat them. They get one free kick and they score. Chelsea, I don't think we should have beat them, but I think we should have got a draw. We make a stupid mistake on the back post and they score. You know, there's been so many games like that recently where even though we probably shouldn't lose the game, we still lose the game. And I just can't wait to get, well, look, I don't want to jump ahead, but win on Wednesday and just rip it apart. Rip it apart, because there's so many things that need to change over this summer and we're just so fucking far off. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. And look, we've got to start thinking about Wednesday, of course. We'll do the player ratings, but look, I could pick a lot apart. I mean, Anana tonight, the save in the top corner is a good save, but he's palming it back into danger with 2 hands. Why aren't you tipping it round the top? Because ultimately, he's not good enough as a goalkeeper, is he? But I want him to be brilliant on Wednesday. I want him to have the best game he's ever had for Man United on Wednesday. I want him to be confident. I want him to play well. And I look at the game tonight and I think, what annoyed me, really annoyed me, is we should have got a draw. And if we'd got a draw, it would have been a positive result. And Spurs picked their reserves and got beat 2-0. And we picked our strongest team and got beat 1-0. And I think if we'd drawn, it would have almost been a little bit of a psychological win for us, because we've picked a strong team against a strong team and we've got a point. You picked your reserves and got beat, but we've both lost. Was Amrin right to pick the team he picked? Ultimately, I think he was. If we're scraping the barrel for positives, Mazraoui, I mean, what's Mazraoui doing playing 90 minutes, by the way? I thought he was in the red zone. He said he was in the red zone last week. He's played 90 minutes against West Ham and 90 minutes tonight. So obviously wasn't in the red zone. Maguire, I think, played 90 minutes. Luke Shaw played a lot of minutes. Mason Mount started. Ahmad played 90 minutes. So look, I'd still love to see a Delo back, but a lot of players have come through that game and not got injured. So really, thinking about the final, and that's all I'm thinking about, I'd rather be us than Spurs, because Van der Ven and Romero won't have played a game for nine days. A lot of our players have played a game in 5 days. So sharpness-wise, should be quite good. Heaven coming on was obviously good, but it's going to be tough to throw him into a final. Yeah, just a waste of everybody's time, wasn't it? That's what I feel. It's a fucking waste. You know what? I actually feel like apologising to you, and it's got nothing to do with me, and I'm sure you feel the same. I feel like saying I'm really sorry, because that's how I feel about this season now. It's like I feel like apologising to you, and it's got nothing to do with you, to do with us. It's just so bad. I mean, look, even when I look back at the game now and I'm thinking through, we started off quite well, but without creating anything. We never should have lost that game, but we were never going to win it either. And I'm a firm believer that when you say that sentence, you can't moan if you lose. We didn't deserve to lose, but we were never going to win. Well, football was always like that. There might be a mistake or a deflection or a penalty. Like, we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. I thought the attack was dreadful, and it worries me because we just lack any experience in that attack beyond Bruno. And we're about to go into a game against the likes of Van der Ven and Romero. Romero's going to fucking bully us in that final, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's going to bully us. Rasmus looks absolutely dead on his arse. Garnacho's done nothing in the last 2 games. Ahmad suddenly looks like a player that's lacking sharpness because he's been out for a while. Mason Mount, I don't know about Mason Mount because I just don't know at any 1 minute whether he's going to get injured. We just need... Everybody needs to turn up and have the game of their lives on Wednesday. Like, we know what Garnacho can do. We know what Ahmad can do. Like, we know what Bruno can do. We need these players to have the game of their lives on Wednesday. But they've got to pass. They've got to play as a team. They've got to trust each other. I think sometimes they look up, they see Rasmus running and go, well, I don't fancy that. Sometimes they look up, they see Bruno on the edge of the box, they think, oh, I don't fancy that, I'm going to shoot. They've got to trust each other. We will only win this final as a team. We've got the players to do it, but we've got to play as a team. And I think we missed Mount when he went off, and I think we missed Casemiro when he went off. And these players are really important, but in the attack, we really miss it. You have the power to ask why at the press interview, says Jonathan. Yeah, but we've asked it before. I think it's been asked of Amorim, it's been asked of Ten Hag, and you know, I think we already know the answer, mate, Jonathan. I don't pose the question and not understand the answer. Why does Onana palm the shot back into danger two-handed? Why is Rasmus not holding the ball up very well? Why are we conceding goals for years on the back post? Why are our attackers always shooting and not passing? I know the answer as much as you know the answer. I don't need to ask Amorim for the answer because he won't give it, the same way Ten Hag won't give it. I know the answer. You know the answer. We all know the answer. Every one of those things is caused by players not being good enough in the role that they are. It's an IQ thing, it's a talent thing, it's a profile thing, whatever. We all know the answer. We don't have the players, and it's not just Amorim, Ten Hag, the bad signings, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we almost conceded 2 in a row, says who to blame. The heads went down, didn't they? I keep seeing fans saying we should rebuild around Bruno. None of them deserve to see the new era of this club. How? No creativity, says Plimo. You can't play proper football with light switch players. Like it or not, these players will be back next season without sale of players, says Ricky. We'll win the Europa League, but Amorim's gone, says Mafarico. No, he's not. They don't even try to equalise. Shocking mentality. Did you see it? Richie, did you see it in the last few minutes? When there was a minute to go and Mainu got it and then passed it backwards, and then Lindelof was passing it side to side. I know Ahmad was down injured, but Maguire was up front. Just ping it up to Maguire. We played well today considering we played with 10 men, says Eduardo. We need world-class striker and Cunha. It's not going to help us for Wednesday, mate, Audi. I don't actually understand why some of our fans are doing that. You have to respect it, but some of you are getting really angry about things we can't do anything about before Wednesday. Wednesday is big. As I said, these don't come around very often. I don't know why anybody's thinking about what we need to do in the summer, what we need to do with this player. I'm not interested in that. All that matters is Wednesday. It's hypocritical to sit here going, we need to get rid of Onana, we need to get rid of Rasmus, this, that, and the other. We can't do that before Wednesday. And if you want to do it in the summer, we need to win on Wednesday because we can't get the striker you want or the goalkeeper you want if we're not in the Champions League and we don't get that money. So I get your point, but it's almost like you're ignoring this massive thing that happens on Wednesday that dictates everything you want to happen. We can't solve a lot of the problems that need to be solved before Wednesday. We have to go with what we've got. We've got to figure out what we do with what we've got. Oh, we need a new striker, or we need Cunha, or we need a right back. Well done, you're right, but we don't get them before Wednesday. That's all. I think there's a clash of focus. You're absolutely correct. Everything you're saying, I completely agree. But we can't do any of that before Wednesday. And if we want to do that, we need to win on Wednesday. So we need to talk about Wednesday and how we approach that. And the only way we're going to do that, I think, is by giving the team as much support as we can and hoping that miracles happen. Because as I said, I don't really care if Lindelof lifts the trophy and is man of the match with a hat-trick. It doesn't matter. He's leaving in the summer. He's not part of the future. But he might be something on Wednesday. I don't really care how it happens. I'm not bothered. I just want to win. And then we'll have more money to do what needs to be done. Because where I will agree with you, nobody on Wednesday is going to change this manager's mind. If Onana has a worldie, it's not going to change whatever the manager wants to do with Onana or any other player. It's because we can't score. Let's say it again, says Rory C. Even if we win on Wednesday, these players have disgraced the legacy of the Busby Babes, says Matthew. a little bit far. 2019, Magaluf and Shaw was bad. 2025, Magaluf and Shaw worse. We have selfish players, as Sean. I can see the starting lineup tonight starting for the final. They were competitive and well composed. Things got extremely bad right after the substitution. I feel sorry for Amrim because the bench players are not making any positive impacts, as TJ. I think Garnacho's in real danger of missing out on the final, which is incredible, really. But I don't know. I don't know. But I think the final, I felt the team that he started with had that feel to it. I believe in Amrim. Have some faith. Sorry for my language, says Magnus. Amrim out, not United fans. You Amrim out lot are not United fans, says Sean. Weghorst, okay. They've ruined my life, says Bread Basket. Very scary how we're just getting worse by the season, says Jay. Survival of the shittest on Wednesday, says United Star. They're not a team, been like this for years, says Rohan. Do you think these players just turn up when they want? Big occasions, they put in 100%. Well, I'm hoping so, Tom, because this team needs dismantling, but I'm hoping they can turn up on Wednesday. We need a striker that will literally get into the face of someone for not providing services. We need passion. Nobody but Bruno showed passion, says Z3. What's the essence of playing from the back when your players can't even make simple passes and Onana's so slow, says Dave. Recall Anthony before Wednesday, says Sammy. Play Maguire as a striker, got more XG, says Gabriel. We are doomed Wednesday, that's all I'm saying. Proper doomed. If this was FIFA, the team would have 23 chemistry. Stop making excuses for Amram, he's rubbish. Right, I think I'm just going to do the player ratings because I get it. I get it. I'm sure there's somebody there that's going to get you all excited, who's screaming and shouting Amram out and telling you what they need to, what you want to hear, but I can only be true to myself and I can only be honest to you like I have been for years. I'm not interested in slagging a player off or slagging a manager off. I'm not. There's a big game on Wednesday. Our whole season depends on it. I don't know what it does if I start going in on players or managers ahead of Wednesday. I don't see what that does. My conscience is going to be clear. I'm getting behind the team and I'm getting behind the manager and I hope they produce a win. And then once that's out the way, I'll have the chat that needs to be had. But we need to, that's just, I don't see the point. I'm embarrassed. I'm pissed off. I'm fed up with this season and nothing's going to change that. But yeah, I just want to get to this final and see what happens. Let's do the player ratings, marking every, I mean, I'm dreading this. I actually don't want to do this. Based on what I just said there, I don't want to do it because I don't want to be slagging any of them off. I really don't. I don't want to do it. I really don't. But look, it's your show, so we'll do it. Onana for me tonight, probably be harsh to give him anything else other than a 6. I mean, it wasn't a penalty. He did make a good save. He can't do anything on the goal. Obviously, Onana is a goalkeeper that we probably need to replace in the summer that we might not replace, but I don't actually think he had a bad game tonight. Lindelof, I thought he was okay. And then after the goal, well, I think on the goal, he's probably the one who's at fault, really. Mazraoui's got 2 on him. And he was a bit shaky afterwards, so I give him a 5. Maguire, I think, was one of our better players. Scored a good goal, actually. Forgot about that, just offside. We did have a good start to the game. He was quite tidy. Probably give him a 6.5. And I probably would give him, I might give him my man of the match, actually. We'll see about that. Luke Shaw, steady 6. Yeah, I thought he was a steady 6. Mazraoui, I thought he was really good first half, and in the second half just got overloaded, so I'd probably say a 5.5. Casemiro, probably a steady 6. Bruno, again, we really noticed it when he went off. I mean, you really do notice it when Bruno goes off. Whatever you think about Bruno, you really do notice it when he goes off, so I'd probably say 6.5 for me. 5.3. Dorgu, I actually thought Dorgu was okay tonight, actually. I know Neto put him on his arse once, but I actually thought he had a lot of work to do, and he was quite good going forward. This is why, Jason Wilcox, if I could send you a message, this is what you're going to do to every bloody obsession you've got with 18 to 20-year-olds. Like, they get thrown in, they play every week, people give up on them, people give them shit scores, people won't be patient with them. I actually thought tonight, I can understand I can see the talent. I'd give him a 6, but it'll be a 5.3. And this is what I don't think Sir Jim Radcliffe and Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox understand. This is what fans are doing. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but fans won't be patient, and you're telling them to be patient. Ahmad was, below par tonight. I'd give him a 5, really. Really important player, but seems to have caught the I'm not going to pass bug, and the dive was embarrassing, and that's not the first time. Back to basics for Ahmad, I think. It was below par today. Mason Mount, probably a 5.5, really. Couldn't really get in the game, but put a lot of effort in. Rasmus has got to be a 4 for me tonight. It was probably one of his worst of the season, and he's had a few. Not a lot went well. In fact, what did go well? It was poor. But as I say, he needs to be thinking, and people around him need to be saying, look, that was dreadful. Why was it dreadful? And in the final, you could turn your whole season around. So they've got to try and lift these players somehow. Heaven was okay when he came on. I'd give him a 6. Agate was okay when he came on. I'd give him a 6. Mainu was okay when he came on. I'd give him a 6. Garnacho was missing. 5. And Amrim tonight, look, what can you do? What can you say? I thought that Amrim tonight has to take responsibility for a crap goal being conceded on the back post. Has to take responsibility for a selfish attack. I'd love to know his answers to those. I think his answer would be, I can't turn water into wine, but ultimately as a coach, you will always get the blame for tactical deficiencies. We created nothing and we conceded a stupid goal. That's something that on the training ground you should be working on. I understand the context. It's been going on for years, but this is why proper investment and a proper pre-season is going to be so important. You've got to give him a 5 today, haven't you? Is basically what I'm saying. But what I will say is he wanted to give a lot of people minutes and he did. And Ange didn't. And I'm hoping that those minutes that our players had tonight, that the Spurs player didn't, might help us on Wednesday, because that's all that matters. Man of the match, I'm glad, actually. I'm glad I'm actually on the right side of justice, because I did think Maguire was man of the match tonight, so fair play to him for that. Second place was Bruno, and third place was Dorgu, actually. So there are some out there that appreciate that he's a young player, been thrown in at the deep end. He didn't coach a win tonight. That's American football. And up yours, because when I've said in the past that Amrim coached a win and the players contributed to the loss, that has happened in the past and it's annoying. But tonight just shows you I was right, because I wasn't saying it to be defensive of Amrim. I felt that he has coached a win before on a couple of occasions and the players have conspired to lose it. We didn't coach a win tonight. Definitely didn't coach a win tonight. Never going to win that. We should have got a draw. We never were going to get a win. Okay, right. Thanks everybody for that. There is no live morning show tomorrow because I've got, hopefully I'll be watching some good football tomorrow morning. I've got to get up early and take Seb to a football tournament. So I will, when I get back, we will do the morning show at whatever time it is I'm back. Might be like 12 or 1 or something like that. So we'll just be a little bit later. Thanks everyone for watching. Try and get some focus. Maybe go for a walk or watch a film that you like. I'm in the same boat, but as I said, I want to just leave you with this, because there'll be a lot of screaming and shouting and there'll be a lot of this is shit, that is shit. And as I said to many of you this week, you have the right as a Manchester United fan to be angry and frustrated and disappointed, and I certainly am. But you also have the right as a Manchester United fan to be excited and look forward to Wednesday, because these things don't happen very often and you don't know when the next one's going to happen. I remember when we won in 99, I thought we were going to win the European Cup 3 or 4 times in the next 5 years. It was 9 more years before we got into a final, and we were a brilliant team across that time. We're shit now, and we've managed to get into a Europa League final. God knows when we'll be in a European final again. They don't come around that often. So I would hate to think that people are going to spend tonight, tomorrow, the next few days, moaning and being negative. You owe it to yourself as a Manchester United fan to allow yourself to get excited about a final. I completely understand why you might be nervous. I completely understand why you don't trust some of these players, and you know, but we probably need a bit of help on Wednesday from somewhere else. You know, there's a Malbec, a hoodie, whatever. But we will be all in it together. And beyond, as I've always said, these players, as all players, are just people who put the shirt on. The actual club, the club that we love, the club that we support, is something a bit different. And hopefully on Wednesday night, we will get something out of this season that I think every one of you deserve, because we certainly don't deserve to be watching Man United get 39 points and 18 losses. And I'm just hoping on Wednesday night, for the fans, for you, that we get something to celebrate, just something from this season, because I think, honestly, what the Glazers and Sir Jim Radcliffe have done to this football club this season needs studying. It's just unfucking believable. But that's another conversation as well for after the final. We just need to win this final. Thanks everyone for watching. Let's get over to the fan forum. I'm sure they've got some strong opinions as well. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care. Thanks for watching.